Have you ever loved someone so deeply that, without even realizing it, you started to hold on a little too tightly? At first, it feels like devotion. You want to be close, to protect, to never let them go. But slowly, that same love can turn into chains. What once felt like tenderness becomes control, and what once brought joy begins to breed fear. Fear of losing them, fear of being replaced, fear that their freedom might take them away from you. This is where most of us confuse love with possession. We believe love means holding on, but in truth, holding on is often the very thing that suffocates love. Buddhism teaches us something radically different. The Buddha once said that true love is not about clinging. It is not about owning another person, but about allowing them to be free, even if that freedom sometimes means they walk a path we cannot follow. Think about it. When we say, "You are mine," what do we really mean? Is it love speaking, or is it fear disguised as love? Fear wants to keep, fear wants to control, but love in its purest form has nothing to do with ownership. Real love is like a flower. You can admire it, water it, let it bloom in the sunlight. But the moment you pluck it, clutch it, try to keep it for yourself, it begins to wither. The same happens with people. When we mistake possession for love, we cut them off from their own growth. And in the process, we also cut ourselves off from the truth of love. Everywhere around us, the illusion of possession is celebrated. Movies, songs, even everyday language tells us, "You complete me, you belong to me, I can't live without you." And while those words sound romantic, they often reveal something darker, a hunger to fill an emptiness inside us by clinging to someone else. But the Buddha invites us to look deeper. What if love isn't about completion, but about freedom? What if real love is not saying, "You are mine," but instead saying, "You are free and I will still love you"? When we understand this, everything changes. The anxiety of love begins to soften. The jealousy, the constant comparisons, the fear of abandonment, they all start to lose their grip. Because love, in the Buddhist way, is not about chains. It is about wings. Imagine a bird that you adore. You can lock it in a cage to make sure it never leaves. But will that bird still sing? Or will its silence remind you every day that your love has become its prison? Now imagine opening the cage, letting the bird fly, and feeling joy as it soars into the sky. That is the difference between possession and true love. One suffocates, the other liberates. And yet this is not an easy path. Our hearts are so used to clinging. We are taught from childhood that if we love someone, we must hold them close, never let them go. But Buddhism whispers a different truth. Love is not about possession. Love is about presence. To truly love is to be here, in this moment, without fear, without chains, without demand. So as we begin this journey together, let us gently challenge the illusion we've carried for so long. Perhaps the love we thought was strong was really just attachment. Perhaps the fear of letting go has kept us from experiencing the beauty of real love. And perhaps, just perhaps, when we dare to love without possession, we might discover a freedom that heals not only the one we love, but ourselves as well. Because true love does not bind. True love frees. And when love becomes freedom, it becomes unshakable, no matter what happens next. Why do we cling so tightly in love? Why is it so hard to simply let someone we care about be free? The truth is, our instinct to possess runs deeper than most of us realize. From the moment we are born, we are taught that survival depends on holding on to our parents for safety, holding on to approval for self-worth, holding on to relationships for identity. Somewhere along the way, love became tangled with fear. Fear of being alone, fear of not being enough, fear of losing what gives us comfort. And so when we say, "I love you," what we often mean is, "Please don't leave me. Please fill the emptiness inside me. Please make me whole." But this is not love, it is attachment. Buddhism points us to the heart of the problem. Attachment grows out of ignorance, from the mistaken belief that there is a permanent self that can own or hold on to anything. But when we look closely, what do we find? Everything is changing. People change. Feelings change. Life itself is a constant flow, never the same from one moment to the next. And yet we try to freeze it, to grasp it, to make it stay. It is like holding water in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips away. Our culture reinforces this clinging. We are told that love means exclusivity, ownership, even control, that we should find our other half, as though without them we are incomplete. This story feeds our insecurity, making us believe that love is a possession, a contract, a guarantee against loss. But the Buddha saw through this illusion. He taught that craving tanha is the root of suffering. When we cling, we create conditions for pain because what we cling to is always changing. It's not that love itself is the problem. It's that we mistake love for attachment. And attachment always carries seeds of suffering. The seed of jealousy, when someone we love turns their attention elsewhere. The seed of anger, when they don't meet our expectations. The seed of despair, when life takes them from us. Have you noticed how often our pain in relationships is not caused by the other person, but by our own expectations of how they should be? We build an image of them in our minds and cling to that image, even as reality shifts. When they no longer fit the story we've created, we suffer, not because love has failed, but because attachment has. Yet here lies a hidden truth. Beneath our craving to possess lies a very human longing, not for ownership, but for security, for connection, for meaning. We cling because we fear emptiness, but Buddhism invites us to see emptiness not as a threat, but as freedom. When nothing can be possessed, nothing can truly be lost. And in that realization, love transforms. Imagine for a moment, what if love did not have to mean clinging? What if we could love fully, passionately, deeply, without the fear of loss? What if instead of saying, "You are mine," we could say, "I am grateful for this moment with you exactly as it is"? That shift in perspective changes everything. It allows us to meet love with open hands instead of clenched fists. It allows us to honor the flow of life instead of fighting against it. The roots of attachment run deep. They are planted in fear, watered by insecurity, and sustained by illusions of permanence. But the good news is, roots can be transformed. With awareness, with mindfulness, with compassion, we can begin to loosen the grip. We can learn to see love not as possession, but as presence. And when we do, love is no longer a desperate attempt to hold on. It becomes a gift, free, fearless, and boundless. So if love is not possession, if it is not clinging, then what is it? What does true love really mean? In the Buddhist way, love is not about filling an emptiness inside us. It is not about ownership, control, or even guarantees. True love is an energy, pure, radiant, liberating, that flows outward without demanding anything in return. The Buddha described it through what are called the four immeasurables: loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. Four qualities that, when alive in the heart, transform love from something fragile into something boundless. The first is loving kindness metta. It is the wish. May you be happy, may you be safe, may you be well. Notice how simple that is, no strings attached. Loving kindness does not say, may you make me happy. It says, may you be happy. That small shift turns love from self-centered craving into a blessing, a gift of goodwill. The second is compassion, karuna. This is the willingness to feel another's suffering as if it were our own, and to respond with care. Compassion is what makes love more than a fleeting feeling. It becomes a commitment to walk alongside someone in their pain, not to rescue or control, but to simply be present with an open heart. The third is joy, mudita. Not the joy of possession, but the joy of seeing another flourish, even if their happiness has nothing to do with us. It is the ability to celebrate someone else's freedom, success, or growth without jealousy. Imagine loving someone so deeply that their joy brings you joy, whether or not you are the source of it. That is real love. And finally, equanimity, upekkha. This is balance, spaciousness, the wisdom that knows all things change. Equanimity allows us to love without fear of loss, to care without being crushed by attachment. It is the open sky that holds the storms of life without clinging to any single cloud. Together, these four immeasurables create the foundation of true love. They reveal that love is not about what can I take, but what can I give? Not how can you complete me, but how can I support your freedom, your growth, your happiness? Think of love like a flame. If I light your candle with mine, my flame is not diminished. Instead, the light grows brighter. True love works the same way. The more we share it, the more abundant it becomes. And yet, this vision of love challenges everything we have been taught. We are used to love as a transaction. I give you my heart, so you must give me yours. But the Buddhist way flips this completely. Love is not a bargain. It is not a contract. It is a practice, a way of being, a gift given freely, without fear, without demand. This does not mean love is cold or detached. Quite the opposite. It is fiery, alive, more intimate than anything possession can offer, because it sees the other person as they truly are, not as a reflection of our needs. When you love in this way, you don't need to control. You don't need to chain someone to you. You simply stand beside them, hand open, heart open, and say, I love you as you are, not as I wish you to be. And even if you change, even if life carries you in a different direction, my love remains a blessing, not a cage. That is what true love really means. It is freedom wrapped in tenderness. It is strength softened by compassion. It is joy untouched by fear. And once we taste it, every lesser form of love feels small, narrow, and incomplete. Stories often reveal truths in ways that words alone cannot. Let us step into two very different portraits of love, one bound by chains, the other carried on wings. The first is a story many of us know all too well. Imagine a young couple deeply in love. In the beginning, everything feels effortless. Late-night talks, laughter that seems endless, a sense of belonging that feels almost magical. But as time goes on, one partner begins to fear losing the other. The phone calls that once felt sweet now come with questions. Where were you? Who were you with? Why didn't you answer sooner? The love that was once light and joyful grows heavy with suspicion. Every smile toward another person sparks jealousy. Every moment apart feels like abandonment. And slowly the relationship transforms from a garden into a cage. Both partners suffer, the one who clings and the one who feels trapped. That is possession disguised as love. It begins as tenderness but ends in fear. The flame burns not brighter but dimmer, until finally the weight of clinging suffocates what once was beautiful. Now, let us turn to another story. This one unfolds not in chains but in freedom. A woman loves a man who dreams of traveling the world. Her heart wants him close, yet she knows his soul longs to wander. When the day comes for him to leave, she doesn't beg, she doesn't bargain. She simply tells him, "Go, live fully. If you are happy, I am happy too." At first she feels the ache of distance, the natural human longing to be near the one she loves. But she also feels something unexpected, peace. She does not need to cage him to love him. She does not need to own his path to feel connected. And in that freedom their bond deepens. Letters arrive filled with gratitude. Memories are shared joyfully without demand. Though oceans apart, their love breathes freely, unbound by fear. That is liberation in love. It does not deny longing, but it transforms it. Instead of suffocating, it allows both hearts to expand. We see this same truth in countless forms. Parents who cling to their children so tightly that the children cannot grow wings. Friends who measure loyalty in control rather than trust. Lovers who believe commitment means possession rather than freedom. And we also see the opposite. Parents who let their children walk their own path. Friends who celebrate each other's independence. Lovers who support one another's growth, even when it means being apart. Possessive love whispers, "I need you to complete me." Liberating love whispers, "I want you to be whole even without me." One shrinks the heart, the other expands it. When we look closely, the stories of our own lives carry both patterns. Times when we held too tightly and times when we loved with open hands. If we are honest, the moments that remain most beautiful in memory are not the ones where we controlled, but the ones where we released. Because it is in letting go that love proves itself real. So the question arises, how often has what we called love really been fear in disguise? And how different might our relationships feel if we began to love not with chains, but with wings? If love is meant to bring joy, why does it so often lead to pain? Why do the very relationships we treasure sometimes feel like prisons of jealousy, fear, and heartbreak? The answer lies in possession. The moment love turns into clinging, suffering is already planted like a seed in the heart. Think of how possessive love feels. At first, it gives us comfort. This person is mine. They will always be here. I will never be alone. But underneath that comfort lies a shadow, the fear of losing them. The more tightly we hold, the more fragile our happiness becomes. Every glance they give someone else, every delay in reply, every moment apart feels like a threat. Possessive love carries with it three poisons. The first is jealousy, the fear that someone else will take away what we believe is ours. Jealousy corrodes trust, turning tenderness into suspicion and affection into control. The second is expectation. We begin to build a story of how the other person should behave, how often they should call, what they should say, how they should make us feel. And when reality does not match the story, we suffer. Not because the person failed us, but because our expectations imprisoned them. And the third is fear of loss. Deep down, we know that everything is impermanent. One day, circumstances will change. People will change. Even life itself will end. And so, possessive love lives in constant anxiety, trying to resist the truth of impermanence. Buddhism teaches that clinging, upadana, is the root of dukkha, of suffering. When we attach to what is unstable, we guarantee disappointment. It is like building a house on sand. No matter how beautiful it looks, the foundation cannot hold. But here is the tragedy. The more we suffer, the more we cling. And the more we cling, the more we suffer. It becomes a cycle, a trap we build with our own hands. Have you ever noticed how much energy it takes to hold on? The constant checking, the endless worrying, the subtle attempts to control. It is exhausting. Instead of expanding our hearts, possessive love shrinks them, making us smaller, weaker, more fearful. Imagine holding a butterfly in your palm. If you clutch it, you crush its wings. If you open your hand, it may fly, but it may also choose to rest there freely. Possessive love crushes. True love lets the butterfly breathe. And yet we resist this truth, because letting go feels like loss, because trust feels like risk, because freedom feels uncertain. But the Buddha reminds us, uncertainty is the nature of all things. To fight against it is to suffer. To accept it is to be free. So the reason possessive love hurts is not because love itself is wrong, but because we mistake clinging for care. We confuse control with devotion, and in doing so, we bind ourselves to suffering. But here lies the turning point. If possession brings pain, then freedom must bring healing. If love chained leads to sorrow, then love unchained must lead to joy. And the heart, when it sees this truth clearly, begins to ask, how do I love without clinging? How do I care without control? How do I give my heart without losing my freedom or stealing someone else's? The answer is possible, and it begins with a new way of seeing love, not as a prison but as a path. What would it feel like to love without clinging? To give your heart completely yet remain free? To cherish someone deeply yet never fear losing them? At first, this may sound impossible. We have been conditioned to believe that love and attachment are the same thing, that if we stop holding on, we must stop caring. But in the Buddhist way, the opposite is true. To love without attachment is not to love less. It is to love more purely, more deeply, more fearlessly. Attachment says, I love you because I need you. True love says, I love you and I want you to be free even if that freedom takes you away from me. This kind of love does not diminish intimacy. In fact, it deepens it. Because when you are no longer trying to possess someone, you finally see them clearly. You can listen without fear. You can support without control. You can celebrate without jealousy. Love becomes a sanctuary, not a cage. But how do we practice this? Buddhism offers us simple yet profound methods. The first is mindfulness of the present moment. When we are truly present, love no longer clings to yesterday or fears tomorrow. We can look into the eyes of the one we love and see them as they are right now, unique, changing, alive. Presence dissolves possession because possession always comes from fear of the future or longing for the past. The second is breathing with awareness. It may sound small, but try it. Breathing in, I let you be free. Breathing out, I smile for your happiness. Each breath becomes an act of release, a reminder that love thrives not in grasping but in letting go. The third is cultivating compassion. When we truly care about someone's well-being, we cannot reduce them to an object of our need. Compassion expands our heart to hold their joys, their struggles, their freedom. It transforms love from me and you into a shared journey of kindness. And finally, there is trust in impermanence. This may be the hardest of all. To love without attachment, we must accept that everything changes, that the one we love will grow, evolve, and one day even leave this world. But instead of fearing this truth, we can embrace it, for it is impermanence that makes love precious. A flower is beautiful precisely because it will not bloom forever. Think of a sunset. If you tried to trap it, to freeze it in place, you would miss its beauty. But when you simply sit, watch, and let it pass, your heart is filled with wonder. Love is the same. When we stop trying to own it, we finally experience its radiance. Loving without attachment is not cold. It is not distant. It is fiery, tender, alive. It is the courage to open your heart fully, knowing you cannot control what comes or goes. It is the willingness to say, I love you, and because I love you, I want you to be free. And here is the paradox. When love no longer clings, it becomes unbreakable. Not because the relationship will last forever, but because the love itself no longer depends on conditions. It is free. It is boundless. It is yours to give endlessly. So the practice begins not with the other person, but with ourselves. Can we release the fear of loss? Can we let go of the story that love must control? Can we trust that love, when freed from attachment, does not disappear, but grows even stronger? Because in the end, love without attachment is the only love that does not hurt. It is the only love that liberates. And it is the only love that endures, not in chains, but in wings. When we think of love, we often imagine romance, the passion between two partners, the spark that binds hearts together. But love in the Buddhist way is far greater than romance. It is not limited to candle-lit dinners or whispered promises. Love is a vast river that flows into every corner of life, nourishing everything it touches. Think of a mother cradling her child. Her love is fierce, protective, tender. Yet even here, attachment can creep in. Many parents, out of deep affection, try to shape their children into images of themselves. They cling to their children's choices, control their paths, and mistake possession for protection. The result: the child feels trapped and the parent feels betrayed when life unfolds differently than planned. But when parental love is freed from possession, it becomes a blessing. The parent does not say, "You must be who I want you to be." Instead, they whisper, "May you grow into who you truly are. May your happiness be your own." That is love beyond romance. It is love that liberates, not confines. The same truth appears in friendship. Real friendship is not measured by constant agreement or control, but by trust and spaciousness. A friend who loves without attachment celebrates your success, even if it means you spend less time together. They rejoice when you find new opportunities, even if it carries you far from them. They do not need to chain you to their side, because their joy is found in your joy. And consider the love we extend to strangers, or even to those who have hurt us. Buddhism teaches that the highest form of love does not draw boundaries. It does not say, "I will love only my family, my partner, my friends." Instead, it expands outward like ripples on a still pond until it embraces all beings. This is why the Buddha urged us to practice loving-kindness meditation, to send thoughts of goodwill not only to those we adore, but also to those we fear, dislike, or ignore. Because true love does not discriminate. When we love beyond romance, our heart becomes vast, unshakable. Imagine carrying love not as a fragile flame easily snuffed out, but as a sun, steady, radiant, shining on all without demand. Such love cannot be broken, because it is not dependent on one person's behavior, one relationship's survival, or one story of mine and yours. It is freedom, shared equally with all. This does not mean we abandon romance. Romantic love has its beauty, its tenderness, its sweetness. But when romance is infused with this greater love, it transforms. Instead of being fragile, anxious, or exclusive, it becomes strong, spacious, and liberating. Lovers become not cages for each other, but companions on the path, two travelers walking side by side, supporting one another's freedom. And here lies the profound teaching. Love beyond romance is not abstract. It begins right where we are, with how we speak to our parents, with how we listen to our children, with how we treat our friends, with how we respond to strangers. Each moment is a chance to choose possession or liberation. So love in the Buddhist way is never just about me and you. It is about us, the vast web of life, all beings, each deserving of kindness, each worthy of freedom. When love is this wide, nothing can shake it, not distance, not change, not even death, because it is not confined to one form. It is the very essence of who we are. Love, when seen through the lens of Buddhism, is not only a feeling, it is a practice. It is something we train, nurture, and deepen every single day. Just as a gardener tends to the soil, waters the seeds, and patiently waits for them to bloom, so too must we cultivate the seeds of true love within ourselves. The Buddha once said that true love has 4 elements: loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. Together, they are called the 4 immeasurables. They are immeasurable because when practiced sincerely, they expand endlessly, reaching beyond the limits of the self, beyond the walls of attachment into the vastness of life itself. First, loving kindness. This is the wish for others to be happy. It begins with a simple intention. May you be well, may you be safe, may you be free from suffering. In meditation, we start with ourselves, because if we cannot wish happiness for our own heart, how can we offer it to others? Slowly, we extend it outward, to a loved one, to a friend, to a neutral person, and finally, even to someone we struggle with. Loving kindness softens the barriers between us, teaching us that love does not shrink when shared, it grows. Second, compassion. This is the wish for others to be free from suffering. Compassion is not pity, nor is it mere sympathy. It is the courage to face suffering, both our own and that of others, without turning away. Imagine a friend drowning in sorrow. Compassion is not standing at the shore saying, "I hope you get better." It is stepping into the water, offering your hand, saying, "I am here with you." When we practice compassion, we learn that true love is not about avoiding pain, but embracing it together with courage and tenderness. Third, joy. Love is not complete without joy. In Buddhism, this is called mudita, the ability to rejoice in the happiness of others. How rare it is in this world to find someone who can celebrate our success without envy, who can smile at our freedom without clinging. Joy in love means that when your partner thrives, you feel uplifted. When your child follows their own dream, you are delighted. When your friend finds new opportunities, your heart dances with theirs. Joy turns love from a prison of comparison into a boundless celebration of life. Fourth, equanimity. This is balance, spaciousness, and freedom from clinging. Equanimity allows love to breathe. Without it, love suffocates under control, fear, and expectation. With it, love becomes vast and steady, unshaken by change. It says, "I love you not because you belong to me, but because you are you. And whether you stay close or drift far, my love remains." Equanimity is the quiet strength that keeps love pure. These 4 elements are not abstract ideals, they are practices. You can begin today with small, deliberate actions. Sit quietly and send kind wishes to yourself. Offer compassion to someone in pain by listening deeply, without judgment. Celebrate the happiness of a friend without comparing it to your own. Release your grip on someone you love, giving them space to grow. Day by day, these practices reshape the way we love. They transform our relationships, not by adding more control, but by offering more freedom. They teach us that love is not about possession, but about presence. Not about clinging, but about letting go. And slowly, as these practices deepen, something miraculous happens. Love stops being fragile. It becomes unshakable, unbreakable, limitless. It becomes a love that cannot be lost, because it is no longer tied to possession but rooted in the boundless heart. There are moments in life when love is not just a feeling, but a force that transforms us from the inside out. A parent holding their newborn child, suddenly realizing that life is no longer about me, but about us. A friend standing by another through dark storms, discovering a strength within they never knew existed. A partner learning to release jealousy, finding that freedom makes their love more radiant, not less. Love has this power, when it is free from possession, to reshape who we are. It chisels away at the stone of ego, softens the grip of fear, and teaches us to see beyond the small self. In Buddhism, this is not just a coincidence. It is the very path of awakening. When we practice true love, we practice letting go of the illusions that bind us. Each time we love without clinging, we loosen the knot of attachment. Each time we choose compassion over control, we weaken the chains of selfishness. And each time we celebrate the joy of another as if it were our own, we taste the oneness of life itself. Think about it. When love transforms us, it dissolves the boundary between I and you. Suddenly, your happiness and mine are not separate. They are woven together like threads in the same tapestry. In that moment, the illusion of separateness begins to fade. This is not just love. This is wisdom. Great teachers often say, love is the shortest path to enlightenment. Why? Because love demands that we go beyond ourselves. It pushes us to expand, to open, to surrender the small I in service of something greater. In that surrender, we touch freedom. Consider the story of the Bodhisattva who vows to remain in this world of suffering until all beings are free. What fuels such a vow? Not logic, not duty. It is love, vast, unconditional love that sees every being as worthy of freedom. This is the ultimate transformation. Love that does not end at the walls of family or tribe or even humanity, but embraces all sentient life. And here lies the beauty. You don't need to be a monk or a mystic to experience this transformation. Every act of true love is a training in awakening. Every time you forgive, you polish the mirror of your heart. Every time you release control, you strengthen your freedom. Every time you open your arms without expectation, you expand the limitless sky within you. Through love, the self-centered mind dissolves. Through love, fear loses its hold. Through love, suffering finds its healing. In this way, love is not just about romance, not just about family, not even just about kindness. Love is a revolution of the heart. It is the alchemy that turns ordinary life into a path of liberation. And when love transforms us, we discover something extraordinary. What we sought outside, security, belonging, meaning, was never outside at all. It was waiting inside, in the quiet power of a heart that knows how to love without chains. At the end of this journey, one truth becomes clear. Love was never meant to be a cage. It was never meant to be chains that bind or walls that confine. Love, in its purest form, is freedom. When we release the urge to possess, love blossoms like a lotus rising from still waters. It needs no control, no ownership, no fear of loss. It simply shines. And in that shining, both the one who loves and the one who is loved are liberated. To love in this way is to live without weight. It is to breathe without fear. It is to step into the vastness of life and feel at home in every heartbeat, every smile, every tear. Love becomes not something you have, but something you are. The Buddha once said that a true love must contain 4 elements: loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. Together, they are not chains but wings. They lift us beyond the small self, beyond attachment, into a space where love is no longer fragile but infinite. And perhaps this is the deepest teaching of all. When love is free, we are free. So as you step back into your daily life, ask yourself gently, can I love without holding too tightly? Can I care without trying to control? Can I give without expecting to receive? These small shifts are not small at all. They are the seeds of transformation. They are the keys to a life lived in freedom, guided by love. If this journey has touched your heart, take a moment to breathe with it. And if these teachings resonate with you, we invite you to walk further with us. Subscribe to Zen Buddhism Wisdom, where together we explore the path of Buddhist teachings, mindfulness, and the art of living with depth and freedom. Because the world doesn't just need more love. It needs more true love, the kind that frees us all.